Good morning everybody, and a very special warm welcome, and thank you for being here to come and pay your respects today. It's an amazing turnout, and I'm sure that if it wasn't for the current situation we'd have many more people here. There are family and friends who've travelled near and far to be here today, and we'd like to welcome first and foremost each and every one of you, and also those who are watching on the live stream from various parts of the world. In particular, I'd like to say hello to our friends from Sweden, from Germany, family in Wales, and of course the drag racing community all over the UK. We're all here because in one way or another your life was touched by Neville Mottershead, Nev. More commonly known by friends and family as Nev The Rev, Revel, or the Very Reverend Sir Nev Mottershead Ode, Driver Tete, and of course, joined today by family, wife Libby, daughter Leah, brother Mike, brother-in-law Andy, and his closest friends, as you'd like to call them, on the hand. We're here in great sadness, first and foremost, to say goodbye and to mourn the passing of a very special man. And we're also here to offer comfort and support to Nev's family. My name is Alan, and it's a real honour and a privilege for me to officiate today's service. And my role today is that of a funeral celebrant, which means we're here to celebrate Nev's life. And it's my role, with the help of the family, to put together a service that is unique and totally dedicated to Nev as we celebrate and reflect on his life. We pay tribute to this amazing man. We'll do it, of course, with sincerity, with colour, with humility, with great music, as you just heard with the entrance, and of course we've got a few more classics coming up as well. Definitely a touch of humour, I think that's what we'd expect today. And of course, without any shadow of a doubt, 100% respect. So can I just start by saying that it's perfectly fine to smile or laugh at a funny story or an anecdote, because there are a few. And feel free to give a little round of applause. I'm sure it'll be definitely appreciated if anybody gets up to speak under such difficult circumstances, especially Lofty, and of course Will, who'll be joining us in a little while. Our ceremony will be a non-religious service, and I know there may be those for you whom religion is a major part of your life and are more familiar with a different form of service. But I hope that we can agree that the human values that we all share are of a far more lasting importance than any individual beliefs that may divide us in this respect. I must say, I've had the great pleasure, and it has been a pleasure, to speak and deal and coordinate with Nev's wonderful family. Libby, Leah, you have been absolutely amazing. The tower of strength that you've given each other, and also to me, to help you put together a wonderful service. It has been a pleasure. And after speaking with them both, we agreed that today, and I'm sure each and every one of you would understand and appreciate this, it is a celebration. Yes, it's a service, but it's a celebration about Nev's life. And we've managed to put together a service that Nev would have been proud of. I'd like to start the service with a beautiful poem. It's been chosen by Leah, and if you have a booklet, I will read it aloud. Please feel free to join along with me in your own setting and in your own time. It's a poem that's called Thinking, and it's by Walter D. Windle. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win, but you think you can't, it is almost certain you won't. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. For out of the world we find success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you are outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man. But sooner or later, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. Beautiful words, and so appropriate for this morning. And what a wonderful choice. Beautifully compiled. And again, it does make you think. And of course, today is about the legacy and thinking of our wonderful friend and family member, Nev. Now this service, it has lots of contributions, and I'm going to represent some of the family. We're also going to ask some friends to come up and represent the family on behalf of Nev. So first and foremost, I'm going to begin the eulogy, and we're going to do the first part on behalf of Liv. And it is time to go through the eulogy, and I'm sure you'll appreciate that trying to fit 56 years into less than 10 or 15 minutes means we'll probably only get to scratch the surface of Nev's wonderful life. But I hope that what I'm about to read to you will help jog your own memories of Nev, what he meant to you and how he may have touched your life. So as we sit here this morning or as we watch on the stream, please let's spend the time in a positive frame of mind and let's reflect on the brilliant, fantastic, amazing man that he was. Nev, as I've alluded to already, was a husband, he was a father, he was a grandfather, a brother, uncle. The list is endless, but he was a friend to many. He was born in Stockport on the 21st of July 1964 to parents Mary and Harold, and also had two siblings, Neil and Mike, and lived at 166 Didsbury Road all his life. I said I was going to represent Libby today, and it gives me great pleasure and an honour to read some words that she's written. So I will try and read it in the first person. And I hope I do it justice for you, Lib. I first set eyes on Nev when I was visiting my aunt on the same road that Nev lived. We were just leaving, and my aunt said, "There goes little Nev Mottershead." He'd be around 9 or 10 years old. I hadn't realised at that point that my parents also were friends of Nev's parents. My father worked with his father at Hawker Siddeley Aviation. I recall as he walked up the road his distinctive, determined, bouncy stride, and having known Nev now, that stride was going places. He was boisterous. He was a boisterous, inquiring young man and knew what he wanted from an early age. He was a boy on a mission. He didn't stay on at school, he left early, and his maths teacher almost begged him to return to finish his education. He was very bright, but he'd made up his mind to follow his own career path. His mum Mary would take him on a bus ride after school to go and spend time at his Uncle Frank's garage so he could watch and help out. He'd set up his own office at home and play out his own garage business. And this is where his passion for all things engineering and mechanics began. He had such a wise old head on young shoulders. He went on to work at a few garages, and one in particular where his love of drag racing began, and eventually owning his own drag racing car. He was to go on and own his own garages, businesses, and through our love of drag racing, that's when Nev and I met, and eventually married at Statham Lodge in Lymm, and set up home at his childhood home at 166 Didsbury Road. We had so much fun in our life together. It was one big adventure. We had 23 wonderful years together, 17 of marriage, and not a day went by without us saying, "I love you." Nev was a kind, loving, funny and a brave man. Always knew what to do and say. I shall miss him dearly, as will we all. He touched so many lives. Thank you, Nev. I've been so fortunate that I was able to love and be loved in return. Good night, my dovey. Beautiful, beautiful words. When we have a look at Nev and we reflect, as we all will this morning and will continue to do so, when we look at some of the dynamics, again, I've been speaking with Leah and Libby over the last couple of weeks. I feel I've really got to know him, and them as well. Nev was the breadwinner and decision maker. He was a stepfather to Leah from the age of 10, and now she's 33. Doesn't look it. And he loved her as his own daughter. And of course we'll hear a special tribute to Nev in a few moments when I read it out on behalf of Leah. Holidays, well, I don't think it comes as any surprise. Enjoyed many a racing holiday in the UK and abroad at Santa Pod, York, Avon Park, Malbo, Tierp and Hockenheim. He always made, as I'm sure each and every one of you are fully aware, every occasion as special as possible, and regularly went out of his way to take things one step further, such as putting up tents with chandeliers for garden parties, welding frames for panatas, and concealing gifts within a box, in a box, in a box, or hiding them to find in a treasure hunt. He was the go-to person for advice for many people, not just Leah, always knowing the right thing to do in any circumstance. And I think this morning we're painting that beautiful picture. We all know it so well, don't we? We can just, at the flick of a switch, think of him like that. And that's what we want to continue to do so. I mentioned before that I was going to do a special reading on behalf of Leah. It's indirectly in a poem form, but the descriptor and the words say everything. And I said before at the beginning of this service, yes, we're all sad, but this morning it is a celebration, and we want to think in that frame of mind. So I'll again do the reading for you, Leah. It hurts, you're still not with us. Modern medicine could not save you, but life is for living. I know you'd want us to. There's so much I didn't say, and so much I'd like to thank you for, like teaching me how to adult, and for always having an open door. Your crew will always be here to help you fulfill your dreams. Instead, we will take you with us in spirit. Life is cruel like that, sometimes it seems. I promise to live each day like I'm chasing that quarter mile, and take you with me, your positive ways, and how you love to make others smile. They say anyone can be a father. It takes someone special to be a dad. I'm so happy that Mum chose you. You're the best I could have had. Beautiful. Thank you. When I asked the family, when I asked Libby and Leah and extended family for some words to describe this amazing man, the list was endless. I could have probably done a service just on all the words that were coming in. We were on the phone for ages. It just wasn't a quick call. It was always an extended call. I think they half dreaded it when they saw my name come up on the phone. But when I asked for one word to describe Nev, and I'd like you all to sit there yourselves and just think in your own moments one word, what would that word be? Some of the words that came through. Libby came through. Beautiful word. Sincere. Leah. A hero. Andy W, awesome. Adam, generous. Nelly, wild. Anthony, legend. There are many, many others, but I think we can all relate these words to Nev. I also asked, what will you miss about him? And again, here's just a few of the replies. And I ask you that same question this morning as part of our service. What will you miss about him? His incredible sense of humour. How he made occasions so special. His wise words of advice. And being the go-to person in an emergency. Nev has left a wonderful legacy, as we can see today. Family and friends, extended family. And of course, Nell's illness and his passing has been a difficult time for the family and friends. And it's been a difficult time. But we know, we're assured, that he'll always be remembered. Nev's with each and every one of us. He was a friend to all. It's always very difficult to speak at a service like this for someone who we love. We love with a capital L. And I'm now going to ask two of his close friends to continue with the eulogy and to pay a special tribute to Nev. First of all, Lofty, and then in a few moments we'll have Will Furness. Thank you, Lofty. Thank you.
So it's Nev Day, and I've called this a Revel reflection. 1984, a year to remember. Prince released Purple Rain. There was Band Aid, and of course Neville and Lofty meeting for the first time on a sunny Saturday afternoon in July. There are so many memories we all have. Here are just a few of mine. Over 36 years with my boss, my partner in crime, and my best friend. The shout, "Oi!" at passing customers at DP Garage drove him up the wall, but it was faff. And occasionally, even he used the shouts. I'm pretty sure we all know what faff means. Brew times with the Lutes, Autosport and classic car magazines was our Thursday ritual, which I loved. Paul Mack, with 14mm nuts stuck up his nose in an important staff meeting, to Nev hosing down the street so Paolo could keep smoking the tyres on his American Muscle Monster. Classic Nev. Complemented, of course, by Nev straddling a Jaguar V12 engine and box, firing it up and riding it down the workshop floor as it vibrated its threatening bits off. Unbelievable but true. I have to mention Pat's Pantries, which we renamed Pat's Panties, and nobody will ever forget how Nev devoured his daily custard cake. It had to be seen to be believed, timeless and again faff. As we honed our skills as professionals, I moved with Nev some years later to Owen Street, where once again I used my expertise of making oxyacetylene bombs. This, I recall, was the first time Nev gave me my first major rollicking, whilst trying to hold back a smile as I blew up the side of Wayne Connolly's unit. If only I'd got him as well. Our working relationship ended with the everlasting Jensen restoration. But I know Nev, Diddy Dave and myself loved almost every minute of it. Our working relationship would then fire back up some 10 years later, when Nev once again showed his compassion and dedication to our friendship by helping me start up a brand new business, which still runs to this day, and will continue to run with the uncompromising, stubborn ethics that Nev has instilled into me. And it goes without saying, a special thank you to Livy and Leah for the help on our journey. Over the years, we had some of our best nights together as VIPs, watching The Who, to gigs watching Genesis, Marillion and Gabriel. Fantastic nights I'll always remember. The days weren't too bad either. Visiting the London World Astronomical Society show, watching Rev pinning Patrick Moore to the wall, asking questions and talking to him for over half an hour. He looked like he'd been abducted after Robert's interrogation. It was brilliant memories of a brilliant man. Finally, the answer I think many would like to know is, did Nev ever change in my 36 years of knowing him? My last full day with him was in hospital, and due to COVID there was no aircon or fans allowed. Nev was feeling very warm and asked Liv to fan him with a makeshift fan. I started with a food tray and then moved on to a laminated A4 sheet. All good. Then Nev to Libby, can you fan me from the side? Whilst Lofty fans me from the front. At the end, Lib and Leah are now fanning him with classic car magazines either side, whilst I'm using the laminated A4 sheet in front, with Nev orchestrating, Lib slower, Lofty lower, Leah just right. We kept going for over an hour, unbelievable. We kept going for over an hour until he dozed off to sleep, only Nev. And yes, he kept the water jugs and cups on his table perfectly straight and in line. So the answer is no, never changed, which is what made him so special and unique. Words cannot express how much he meant to me, Nev. And now it's time to put the pooper scooper down and have a well-earned rest. I love you, Nev. Until we see each other again. You sing number one.
Lofty, absolutely incredible. You've done the man proud, well done. Wonderful words from the heart, from a lifetime friend, and it was a privilege to listen to that. Well done, mate, well done. I'm even more pleased as well now to call upon another close friend, and again some special words from Will Furness. Thank you, Will.
Wait for me. I can wait, it's fine. Right, I'm honoured to be here today to say a few words about our friend Neville. This isn't something that I thought I'd ever have to do. The Nev we all knew was one of the strongest-willed, dare I say stubborn, people I've ever known. The spectre of death wasn't going to beat him. He did what he did best and fought it off for as long as he could, but in the end, there's only so much even Nev could have done. I was set what I can only describe as a challenge, and Nev loved a challenge too, by Lib last week, to come up with one word that described Nev for today's ceremony. I say a challenge because I'm sure you will agree, thinking of one word to describe somebody like Nev was never going to be easy. What was he? Gifted, perhaps? He certainly was in many ways. Caring, loyal, thoughtful, he was all of those, but nothing jumped out. Frustrated, I thought, but maybe only me and him would see the irony in me describing him as frustrated in his eulogy. Generous, kind, decent, honest. Missed my space. Generous, kind, decent, honest. Again, none of those were out of place to describe Nev. I think everyone here at one time or another had the benefit of Nev's generosity. He certainly had a big heart. Fun, I thought. I haven't had more fun with anyone else I know, and I think I can say that on behalf of all of the people who knew him best. Any of these could be used to describe Nev, but there is one word I'd choose truly to describe him, and that is loved. What an incredible person he was. Thanks. Ask yourself, how many people do you know that were like Nev? When I met Nev, I was still at school in 1985. I was his Saturday boy at his first solo garage venture, Norris Bank Motors. He operated this out of Dave Henry's DP Motors in Stockport. There I met Tex, Paul Mack, Lofty, and others. It soon became apparent that not much work was getting done. Jobs were getting done, but interspersed with what I'd describe as crazy antics. It's little wonder we worked day and night in there. I knew instantly that we had a lot in common. I was already into drag racing and a regular spectator of the pod with my friends from Marple. Maybe it was drag racing that helped him take me under his wing at the time. As Tex pointed out on Saturday, you had to fit in or you'd be gone. Those that didn't fit in didn't want to stay for long anyway. I felt at home from the beginning, and 35 years later, still here along with Tex, Paul Mack and Lofty. In the last few months, we spent quite a lot of time together doing what Nev did best, talking. Our shared love for all things drag racing, while he loved everything drag, I was more focused on certain aspects, meant we had plenty to discuss, usually over something to eat. I'd eat and finish my dinner like anyone else, while he'd be talking. An hour later, with cold dinner in front of him that had been pushing around his plate for a while, he'd still be talking. Our current situation didn't take up much of our time. We'd touch on some stuff to do with the garage, my current circumstances or whatever, but talk was mainly drag related. Inevitably we'd drift on to long discussions about past escapades and reminisce about all the crazy stuff we'd done. By the end of the night he'd brightened up and usually thanked me for cheering him up, and I'd leave the house. Lib had gone to bed by this time, usually leaving us to talk rubbish into the small hours. It's fair to say that we didn't see each other a great deal for 10 of the last 15 years, but when we did, that didn't matter. Time didn't get in the way, and it was like we'd never been apart. When we stopped racing together, I went off in a different direction, starting a family, building a business. Nev went and did the things that he wanted to do with his family. The truth is, we would never have done the things we'd needed or wanted to do if we'd continued our friendship on the same lines as we had always done back then. We never talked about that, but the truth was that we were both better off for it. Anyway, a 10-minute conversation in the garage after work would usually turn into all evening, with us talking about all sorts of drag-related stuff. That's what he loved doing, talking about anything and everything in minute detail. More often than not, the purpose of whatever we were meeting for was completely lost. Our good friends are few and far between. Nev wasn't just a good friend, he was a best friend. I considered him to be my best friend, and I know there's a good few of you out there who considered him to be your best friend too, which says a lot. People come in and out of our lives over the years. The ones that remain and are ever present, we consider our best friends and we love like brothers. Now I know as men we tend not to tell each other that we love one another. That's just the way we are built, I guess, but I know that everyone sat here today loved Nev, and he knew that. 30 people isn't anywhere near the number of people we could have had here today. Hundreds would have attended under normal circumstances. Nev touched literally hundreds of people's lives, and even if it was just a brief encounter, nobody had a bad word to say about him. I've never heard anyone talk in those terms about Nev, ever. Nev was always there for you. And Tex summed this up the other day in one sentence. Last week when he said that we should carry Nev in today as he'd been carrying us all for so long. He wasn't wrong on that one. Nev had very broad shoulders and made it his life's work to look after everyone around him, in particular his wife and stepdaughter Leah, who looked up to him as Dad. There isn't enough time to properly describe the character of our friend, but you all know what he was like. I think it's fair to say that very few people will ever command the kind of respect he did from the people that he knew. Saturday just gone, there was a text exchange between a good bunch of us reminiscing about some of the things we used to get up to. Some of those events are burned into our memories, and we still talk about them to this day, some 30 years after they happened. Nev was a true character. In one of our recent late-night conversations, we talked about characters. If there are teenagers or young adults still doing the daft kind of things that we do when we were young, or if all that's been lost to video games and Instagram. Personally, I don't think there are anymore. It wasn't like we were crazy fools. There's an 18 reference for you there. When we were younger, and maybe I'm wrong on this one, but there doesn't seem to be anyone doing the kind of things that we used to do. Car tuning or modifying seems all too easy these days. When we modified something, it usually involved some radical engine transplants or making things from scratch, not just the addition of a few performance parts. Anyway, after the exchange we had on Saturday night, I thought I'd finish off with a few memories of our friend and some of the stuff a bunch of us said. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. One of the things that we didn't mention on Saturday night, and Lofty's touched on this already, is right there at the top of the list of the most dangerous and stupid things we ever did, oxybombs. For anyone that's not familiar with them, look it up on YouTube. Possibly the single most dangerous thing we ever did, and to be honest, not something I'd do again, being somewhat older and wiser now. I can't see garage owners these days entertaining anyone letting one of these off in work's time for a laugh, like we did. I'm sure a good bunch of you, and I can't see anybody over these glasses, I'm very sorry to pick you out, but some of you will remember this. Will remember the story about the bin bag full of oxyacetylene and Coke cans he put inside Bullethead's car at Tor Garage, with Nev giggling like a schoolboy round the corner as the bomb ignited and destroyed the car. I wasn't there, but I can picture it clearly, and we had a laugh about that the other day as it goes. Here's burnouts in punters' cars, with smoke filling the neighbours' premises and being chased down the road by the owners. Not recently, you'll be glad to know, and as Leah said the other day, they came free with the full service. Thursday night curry nights. Many a night was spent in a curry house. We'd talk about anything and everything, eat way too much food, drink coffee by the gallon until the small hours, and then carry things on after we left. More burnouts. This time outside his mum's house in the middle of the night, usually after a curry. His mum must have been a saint. Not a word from her the next day. She was used to it, but by all accounts, stories of motocross tracks in the back garden when Nev, Mike and Neil were young still make me smile. Yeah. Paul Mac will remember the rain shower, rubber bushes over the roof at DP Motors. We had a good laugh about that on Saturday night. Again, still makes me laugh when I think about that one. Deals and more deals. I've lost track of all the crazy deals and trades we made over the years. Anything and everything was for sale for a price. There's a good few of us here that did the craziest deals with Nev over the years. Big plans, something we shared to the end. Nev was good at making big plans for big projects, and he would have seen them all through given time. One thing Nev was good at was seeing things through. He needed to talk about them for a while first, though. Car chases on the way home. Where's Tex? I can see him over there. Tex will remember them, as he was the one that usually instigated them. Motorway classics. Not all of us will know what they are, but the ones that do will remember them. These were stories told by someone else, as it goes, that we still laugh about. I can't remember them all, there are too many. Classic cars. 1970s V12 Jaguars mainly. Both of us had a costly affliction with classic cars of one description or another over the years, but nothing quite beat a 66 Jag. Catchphrases and nicknames for people. Turns out people had nicknames for him too. Lunchbox Nev was one of them, which I won't go into, but you can work it out. Apparently, I only found that out last week. And finally, drag racing. You'd be hard pressed to find someone else that knows as much as he did about drag racing, and I mean that sincerely. Nobody that I've ever come across knows or knew as much as he did about drag racing. He'd even enjoy watching the track driver at the pod just because we were there at the track. He did. We had some great drag racing moments on and off the track. Winning the meeting, we took our car out for the first time. Sits up there as one of the best memories I have. Anyway, I can honestly say that there is nobody I know, or will ever know, that I shared more in common with. There was a constant love of drag racing at the top of the list. Our shared enthusiasm for things like the Sweeney. I was Carter and he was Regan. Prisoner, the A-Team, Bruce Lee. Enter the Dragon being one of our favourite films. Can't watch that without thinking of Nev. Hi-Fi. Both of us love music, mainly from the 70s, and the pursuit of pure sound, classic cars and much, much more. I could go on, but I'll be here all day. And finally, going back to what I was saying about best friends, there's more than a few people here that considered Nev to be their best friend, which in a nutshell says it's all about the main man himself, our best friend and brother, Nev The Rev. What a man.
Well done, baby. Well done, mate. Well done. David, absolutely amazing and well done again. Spoken from the heart and like Lofty with love and affection for a very special man. Well done. It's never easy. Another round of applause, please, now, gentlemen, for both of the gentlemen. Thank you, boys. Thank you. Absolutely wonderful. Now, again, I'm sure we've set the scene and set the theme for today. As I mentioned at the very beginning, it is a celebration. That's what Nev would have wanted, and that's what Libby and Leah required first and foremost. And obviously we've reflected on on the many points that have been made this morning. I'd now like you all to take 2 or 3 minutes, because we're going to go into a point of reflection. And I'm sure after listening to the eulogy and the words from the family and friends, you'll each have your own unique memory of Nev. What he meant to you, how he touched your life. Those little moments, those big moments. It doesn't matter how big or small they were. That was the impact that this man has made on everybody here today and everybody who'll be watching on the live stream. The boys, the gentlemen there referred to a classic group of bands and singers, but in particular Prince. And we're going to play a song now during our reflection for you to just go down memory lane and think about him for a few moments. And this is a song that meant so much to him, as much as the singer did. This is Purple Rain by Prince for Nev.
I never meant to call you when you sorrow. I never meant to call you when you pain. I'm the one who wants to have you laughing. I only want to see you laughing in the purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Only want to see you bathing in the purple rain. I never want to be your weekend lover. All I want to be some kind of friend. Hey. Baby, I can never steal you from another. It's such a shame our friendship had to end. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Only want to see you underneath the purple. Honey, I know, times are changing. It's time we all reach out for something new. That means you too. You say you want a leader, but you can't seem to make up your mind. I think you better close it. Let me guide you to the purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. You know what I'm saying about up here? Come on, raise your hand. Purple rain, purple rain. I wanna see you. I wanna see you. Purple rain.
A song chosen because it's a song that reminds us of Nev. It's a singer that reminds us of Nev. We now come to the point of committal, and as a mark of love and respect for Nev, if I could ask you, if you are able, please can you be upstanding? We've reached the part of the service now where we must say goodbye and thank you to Nev. Here in this last act in sorrow, but without fear, in love and appreciation, we commit Nev's body to its natural end. Tenderly, lovingly, reverently, we commit the spirit and body of Neville Mottershead to a more peaceful place. We give thanks for your life and for your 56 years of love, your friendship and the memories. Thank you, Nev. Thank you for the good times. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for your love and laughter. Thank you for always being there. Thank you for the light and joy that you brought into this world. You leave this world a richer place than you found it. Continue your journey, Nev, with the love of everyone here. Be reunited with family and friends gone before you. You will live on in the hearts of everyone you touched and nurtured while you lived on this earth. With great respect, we now say farewell, and may you rest in peace. Please remain standing as I read a very special poem that's been chosen for Nev by the family. It is in the booklets, and it's called A Life Well Lived. A life well lived is a precious gift of hope and strength and grace from someone who has made our world a brighter, better place. It's filled with moments, sweet and sad, with smiles and sometimes tears, with friendships formed and good times shared. A laughter through the years, a life well lived is a legacy of joy and pride and pleasure. A living, lasting memory our grateful hearts will treasure. Please take your seats. Despite the inevitable grief and sense of separation that we're all feeling this morning, we should still try and be thankful for having the good fortune of knowing and loving Nev, and how he's enriched your lives and will continue to do so every time you think of him. We talked about legacies today, directly and indirectly. Nev has left a tremendous legacy. Keep him always in your hearts, thoughts, and in your conversations. And although we are poorer for his passing, sometimes a fitting response to death is life, is your life. And after learning about this fantastic man's journey over the last week or so, I'm certain he'd want you to continue and enjoy your life the way he did his. Value your friendships, your families, and live each day to the full with a sense of determination, spirit and fun, just like Nev did. I think today his family have done him proud, Libby and Leah, and of course his wonderful friends, his extended family. Today you've celebrated everything good about Nev, and we can take great joy from the fact that he lived a happy and fulfilling life with a wonderful wife, a daughter, and a wonderful extended family. I know that the family would like me to say a thank you to each and every one of you for the support, for the cards, the flowers, the phone calls, the conversations which are so important at a time like this. It's so important to keep in touch. So please remember that after today. A special thank you as well to all the medical staff and assistants at the Christie, and to all his friends and family, especially those on the hand. As you can see by the back of the booklet, the family have chosen a special fund for the Melbourne Raceway, formerly York Raceway, as this is where all the history and the race car started for him, and they need all your help, particularly in this very difficult time. And this is something he was incredibly passionate about. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we're nearly at the conclusion of our service. It has been an honour and a privilege, and I do want to thank Libby and Leah for allowing me to do it. Thank you to Brian Sharples and Son, the funeral directors, who've worked very hard with the family, including myself. We've had an amazing tribute today in a service that's covered everything. We've laughed, we've cried, we've shared stories from his closest friends who've spoken from the heart with the emotion and the true love that they have for this man. So we're going to finish with a piece of music that's so appropriate. Again, Genesis. What a name to begin with. How ironic and appropriate. He loved his music, he loved his family, he loved his friends. So we're going to finish with a song in memory of Nev, who will be deeply missed, fondly remembered, and certainly never forgotten. And without doubt, a friend to all. What better way to finish this wonderful service than to play a song called Follow You, Follow Me.
Stay with me, just one single